Welcome to another episode of Love and Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we will be continuing our breakdown of Vanderpump Villa and The Valley. Both of them are on episodes 4. I'm excited to talk about both of those shows. I am rejoined again this week by my friend Makenzie. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm excited. I will say, last week filming, I got used to a couple weeks in a row of having somebody just like feed back to me. So it was like last week, I was like, what do I do? I'm by myself here, but I'm excited to have you back this week.
Oh, well, it's good to be back. I had to get a colonoscopy, so I missed the
Sounds like
last
so much more
one.
fun.
Yeah, I would have much rather been here.
Before we dive in, I did get a little bit of reality TV news coming out. So finally, after many complaints I've had about this, especially with season 1 of Perfect Match, my biggest complaint about season 1 of Perfect Match, a lot of it felt unauthentic. Apparently, all of the things I hear about season 2 is everybody was just trying to win, so nobody was switching dates. So finally, Netflix is listening and starting a competition series similar to MTV's The Challenge with alumni from The Squid Game, The Challenge, The Circle, and many more. Filming has already begun on this about 2 weeks ago. Is expected to end later this month, end of April. The exact format of it is unknown right now, but as more details come out, I will share the information. But I'm excited about this because I feel like they can go a lot further along with something like this and instead of a perfect match, right? I mean, I know we already have a challenge, but a lot of people like don't watch the challenge because it's not easy accessible like Netflix. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm one of those people, so
Yeah,
yes,
right. But if it's
I
on
know.
Netflix, you'll watch, right? You know what I mean? So like if you take
Yeah,
all of these cast of characters that we've gotten to know in all of these reality shows and put them together, make them live together, there's drama all built up in there, then you have the challenges. You know what I mean? Instead of the perfect match, you hook up, maybe you don't hook up, or maybe like that whole thing was kind of bananas. So, yeah.
agreed.
All right, so debuting tomorrow or tonight, if you're listening, because this will release tomorrow morning. So debuting tonight on the CW, Patty Stanger, the matchmaker, the ultimate love guru, Patty Stanger, is back doing the things that she does love. She does best. This time, she has a new partner. The Bachelor alum Nick Vile is joining her to tackle some of her most challenging clients yet. Basically, it's a back and forth matchmaking show. I'm allowed to say that I have watched the first episode. I will have a full recap and review of that tomorrow night after the show airs. It airs at 8 p.m. Eastern on CW, and then it will be available on the app after the day after, the CW app the day after. So, have you ever watched like any of the matchmaking shows? Are you interested in this one at all?
I'm interested. I think from what I've heard, she has a lot of wisdom, and so I think that that's worth like watching, not so much, just for like the tea or like the drama, but more just like trying to gain a little bit of insight into how relationships function and things like that. And also, apparently, Chelsea Blackwell's on it from Love is Blind. So she
Oh,
gets a second shot at love. So I think that's pretty exciting.
yeah, the one thing I will say about Patty is she was not afraid. Like in the first episode, Justin Glaze is as one of the people in the first episode. She was not afraid to give him the business and tell him about himself, which I kind of loved. I mean, I really love somebody that's not, and I'll say this loosely, like celebrity or reality TV star, whatever you want to influence or whatever you want to call these people. But I wasn't afraid. I was excited she wasn't afraid to kind of give them the business about their own look of relationship and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. Airing right after Patty Stanger is Love and Liars, rebranded of Fuckboy Island. 24 women are joining 3 men on a tropical island for a chance to fall in love and win $100,000. Um, Mackenzie, are you planning on watching this one?
Um, so you said it's replacing F Boy Island?
I think it's yeah. I think they changed the name. It's changing to Lovers and Liars. I believe it is the changing the name from
Um,
Fuckboy Island to Lovers and Liars. So I think the
maybe.
same premise, same thing, but yeah.
I don't know, maybe. I didn't watch F-Boy Island, so I probably won't watch this either. I mean, I did like watch a few episodes with Katie Thurston from The Bachelorette. Like I thought that would be interesting and add a little bit of like, you know, credibility to it, but I found myself like fast forwarding through like everything just to see like how, the end result, so that's probably not a good sign.
For sure, for sure. And then, of course, next Wednesday, The Circle is returning to Netflix with season 6. They're dropping the first 4 episodes on April 17th. The big twist of the season is there is an AI contestant on the show. I have seen this. I have strong feelings. I cannot talk about them yet. So that's all. I mean, I can only really say those sorts of things. I'm not allowed to say anything. I'm under embargo. Can't really expand upon my thoughts. But have you watched The Circle ever before?
No, I'm starting to
Yeah.
think I don't watch as much TV as I thought because I am not familiar with a lot of these shows. So apparently I need to watch more television, is what I'm hearing.
There really is a lot. And that's the perfect segue into talking about this week's episode of The Valley. Um, this was man, this was a good one. I mean, it's crazy to me how this show is really good. And it's just because of the drama that's wrapped around all of these just idiotic people, really. I mean, but we get the aftermath of the Kristen dinner sequence. Yeah. Thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I was not anticipating being as into this show as I am, so that's kind of exciting. I definitely find myself like anxious for next episodes, and so the hunger is there, which is good. I think that it's likely going to get a second season just based off of like the feedback that I think they're getting already. But I think it's good. I think these I don't know, this initial drama is a little confusing to me. I just feel like the right now, like there's this whole issue with this fight going on with I don't know, it started with like Jax inviting Kristen's ex, but then they got into a fight and Brittany started accusing Kristen of stirring the pot, but then somehow like everything blacked out and like it there was like then they come back and
Michelle's a
it's like,
Republican or racist. I'm like, how do we go from like
yeah,
I didn't even think about that. Like, how do we go
how
from
did
just a
we get
simple
here?
invite like to
How did we get here? And I just think that I don't know, the editing's a little bit weird. There's a lot
yeah.
of flash forwards, I think, and a lot of flashbacks and like it's a there are I do have some beef with some of that. I think it's cool how they break the fourth wall and they are definitely not shying away from pointing out, yes, like there are cameras here, we're not this isn't really like a completely natural environment for all of us. And so
Yeah.
I really do enjoy that about the show. And I'm definitely like interested to get into things more. I just everything is still feeling like I don't really know these people at all. I just know that they seem to like effing hate each other.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to me how they're friends, first off, because like it always seems like drama. And the thing about it is, I have to know. Like to me, this is my feeling. I feel like Zach threw Kristen under the bus, admitted to what he did, but yet at the table kind of just sat there like this, like the entire time as like Kristen was taking on the chin after like she was taking shot after shot after shot after shot, and it was like what I don't
That's
know
the thing.
what
I just felt
like
like he just like bowed out of I'm like, did they just edit your words out? Or like, did you just passively watch someone put words in your mouth and like talk about something you said? I don't know. Like that whole thing with Zach was so confusing. But I don't know. I did listen to him on the Vile Files this week. He was a guest, and it sounds like they're going to shed more light on it. This whole thing, like comes back up and maybe becomes like a recurring theme throughout the season. So that'll be really interesting to learn a little bit more.
I can see that. Another interesting element here is the Kristen has something over Michelle, right? She has to have like a smoking gun. What
I
did
had
because like she texted her, she said, Kristen obviously texted her after the whole fiasco and sent her a text message saying, "Your secrets are safe with me and I don't retaliate." So it's like there's
Yeah, no,
something
and then
there.
she like during the Capri dinner, she mentioned something about like how much I protect you, Michelle. Like so yeah, I picked up on that as well. There's
Like
something.
everybody was freaking out about that, right? Like I think it was Danny and Nia, I think it was, that were like at their house talking about it. Like, what is this thing she has over her, right?
Yeah. I do
It's
not
weird. It's
understand.
weird because why would you say, like, why would you keep bringing that up unless, like, she must have like a smoking gun? You know what I mean? Like, she has to have something there.
I feel like it's probably more likely that it's something on Jesse. I bet like it's just some horrible
It
secret
wouldn't
about
surprise me, right? Maybe
relationship
Jesse
or her
cheated or
husband
something, right?
or
Exactly. Yeah. Would it really surprise? No, because I'm sorry, I just don't like this guy at all. Like, especially last week, we episode 3, the way he was talking to everybody at the table, screaming and yelling, the way that he acted in this episode, which can transition us perfect into our 3 dads having the most worst time ever trying to put a car seat into the car. And then, of course, we get a montage of these guys. It was like straight out of a comedy movie watching 3 dads push these 3 strollers down through the fair. Like, if this would have been like Kevin Hart and his buddies, like
yes, I definitely was thinking about that as well. It sounds like they got some inspo for that scene.
like it was so like it was just like, because what makes it worse is like I think like Jesse, no, Danny, sorry, Danny's like the only attentive dad of the 3.
He's too normal for the show. Like, I mean, maybe we're about to learn more about him and like see his skeletons in his closet, but like everything I'm seeing so far is like he's just insanely normal, actually respects and loves his wife, and is just a regular dad and voiceover actor.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And of course, what I love the most about that entire scene is you have these 3 dads. Again, this is what made me feel like this was straight out of a comedy show. 3 dads with their kids in their stroller, beers in their hand, and they're all talking about the lack of sex in the relationship right there, like right there in the middle of the fair. Like what is going on?
That was pretty crazy.
Like, come on, guys. Like, it was, yeah, that was just. Yeah, I could swear to you, I couldn't stop thinking. Like I took the picture and I posted on Instagram today. Speaking of which, cheap plug, follow the Love and Reality Pod on Instagram. That was a nice little plug there, but make sure to
Yes.
do so. I posted, but it's just like straight out of a comedy movie.
Yeah, it was funny. And you're right, it was kind of hilarious. Everyone just like chit-chatting about their sex life. And then, of course, like the next day, it's like the headline on everything is like, imagine like a headline. You like open your phone and it's like how little you have sex with your husband in a year. Like, that's just, I cannot. That's why they get paid the big bucks, is because if I ever saw something like that about me on in public, I would just simply pass away.
Right. I would delete all socials and just be, you
I would
wouldn't
get
hear from me ever again. It's brutal. And then, of course, on the flip side, we have, the lovers of Luke and Kristen. And of course, we'll skip the talk there, but we'll talk about the back and forth of the conversation about where they're going to live. Now, I will say this. I just want to bring this up. Obviously, both of us married, but go back in time a little bit. If you have a conversation about having a baby, I think you have to lay the groundwork of where we're going, especially if we live in 2 different states. We're going to lay the groundwork on where we're going to live before we start trying to have a baby, right? Like, what is going on?
Yeah. It definitely sounds like they're on totally separate pages and they both think the other one's going to cave. So yeah, I would definitely think that they need to flesh that one out a little bit better before they uh
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah, which of course on the flip side, I did think it was funny. I did love that we did see Danny and Brittany helping Luke set
That
up the
was sweet.
romantic dinner. Like that was very sweet. I do feel like because Luke hasn't felt like a part of this crew yet, and we haven't really seen him. So it was really cool to kind of see Danny again. Luke's very normal. Danny seems very normal, so it makes sense of that atmosphere. And then, of course, Brittany, obviously, you throw her in there. But then, of course, Brittany, it was funny hearing Brittany talk about how Luke's setting up this romantic dinner and Jax is just like does not do any of that for her. Um, but I just felt like this entire scene was very, very sweet.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think Luke and Kristen definitely need to figure out where they're gonna have this dang baby. And yeah, I don't know that uh, they're not really like the couple I just being honest, or like really want to like watch be like super like sexy and romantic. It's just I don't know, something about it is just mm,
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, I think like the whole thing with Danny and Brittany setting up their special night, their massage table and rose petals and everything was really cute. It was like a yeah, like a nice little gesture of friendship.
Yeah, let's now we can transition to this little party that they had. Obviously, this little gala that everybody was going to. I did think it was hilarious. The ladies asking their significant others what kind of money they could spend at the gala, and Jax was like, hey, you just bought two handbags, and he's like, and then they were just arguing over the money, which I thought was hilarious. I just think that's little stuff like that's funny to me.
Mm.
It shows, I think stuff like that kind of shows like the reality of relationships. You know what I mean? That we all know, we've all been there, done that type of thing. All right. As a woman, I do have to ask you, what did you think of Jesse's jacket?
It was horrendous.
So bad.
I don't care. Like it's the epitome of like money can't buy you class. I'm sure it was like so freaking expensive, but it was so ugly. I don't know. Like it was bad.
It was so it was so bad. It was just it was and what made it funny was like every couple that was there really like kind of matched. And then you had Jesse and Michelle who were like polar opposites of matching, which of course makes
Yeah.
plenty of sense.
Yeah, of course they
But
wouldn't, they're not in sync at all, not even with their outfits. Just it
yeah,
trash.
Luke didn't show up to gala. Like apparently the dog had gotten sick, so Luke kind of stayed back. Which I also like. Jax was criticized Luke because he's like, oh, he doesn't want to go to these things. I can understand that. Like he's just a normal dude from Colorado. Like glitz, glamour, gala doesn't sound. When you look at Luke, I don't see a guy that wants to be at a gala anyway.
I'm not sure I see a guy that wants to be on this show very much, to be
That
honest.
either. That either. He was like, I just want to date somebody normal. You should have picked somebody else. Let's see here.
He obviously is okay with a certain level of crazy, but
Yeah, well, that's for damn sure. My favorite line of this entire episode was Michelle and Jesse talking about the date, their first how they started dating. She said, and she ended it with, she said she's in the longest booty call ever. I died laughing because obviously we know the end result of this relationship.
yeah,
Since
I
you're
mean,
off,
she also mentioned like I knew he wasn't the one.
yeah, it was
Like
crazy.
you're not you're not being like very subtle.
No, not at all. Not at all. I can't imagine what this is like watching this back for them, or if they're even, or if she is even. I can't imagine he's watching this back because this does not make him look good at all. Like he looks just, I don't know.
I mean, it takes a lot of talent to look worse than Jax. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have our good friend Zach, who decides we're having a normal dinner at this gala. We're raising money for a good cause. We have all of these good things happening. And then, out of nowhere, he decides he needs to pull Jesse and Michelle together with Kristen, and they all need to have a big kumbaya. Um, which this is probably Jesse's maybe best moment of the entire season, was because he did apologize for the things he said, and then which I don't think is a real. I don't think it was a real apology, but at the same time, I do think that he's a little bit of saving face. But what did you think of this entire scene? Because Michelle's very pissed.
Yeah,
Still,
I mean, rightfully so. Like you can't unsay those things. So even though like Kristen apologized and Zach said he never said racist and like, everyone's denying, it's still out there into the universe. We're all like kind of like viewing her with a little bit of a lens now. So I understand why she would be like a simple apology is not good enough, or like, or I need more time. Like I think she's valid in that. So but yeah, it sounds like Jesse kind of wanted to just like save face and you know just keep peace because at the end of the day they're all, I don't know if they're friends, but they're coworkers. They need to like coexist. And so yeah, I felt like it was an oddly successful like conversation. It seemed like it ended on a decent note, which seems to be kind of hard for this group. So I guess I would say I'm proud of them.
Congratulations.
You had one successful conversation. You resolved one conflict without too much like
Without killing each
shouting.
other, right?
Yeah.
All right. That's speaking of conflict, crazy group, and more. Vanderpump Villa debuted last week on Hulu, April 1st. Episode 4 recently aired. This it's an interesting show. I'm invested in some aspects of the mess. But there is some this just like the Valley, there is some unlikable people on this show. It is, and I think that's the level of it's kind of hard to watch because I'm kind of annoyed by watching Eric continuously like be the chateau manager and like talk down to all of these people. What
And
are your
meanwhile, he's like just as childish and like doesn't have his shit together at all.
yeah,
Who
it's
put this
crazy.
guy in charge?
Where I want to see his resume. Like I want to see this guy's resume. Because we know Marciano's resume is not great because he even said the where he works, they put a policy in that he couldn't sleep with his coworkers anymore because so many of them quit. So like another guy I don't really love. But what is your we didn't talk about it last week, you weren't on, but what are your where are you at on Vanderpump Villa?
Yeah, I mean, I've been begrudgingly watching it. Like, I mean, if Lisa's on it, I want to see it. So, like, I definitely went into it with an open mind, and I liked the concept. Like, it seems, there's French chateaus, there's lavish vacations, there's a staff that's all kind of like incestual and like, interested in each other and not afraid of drama and like very strong personalities. And even the guests have had like, some really strong personalities so far. So I thought I would really love it, but like, I don't know. Maybe it just needs more time, but I am just so not into it. I feel like a lot of things feel manufactured. I'm honestly wondering if any of these people have any experience in hospitality, but I don't know. It's not quite growing on me yet. How about you? What do you think? Who's like
Look,
who do you find to be at least like somewhat tolerable?
I like Telly. I'm a big fan of Telly. I like Telly a lot. I think like that she's a good but I feel like she's also one of those people that finds herself caught up in drama a lot too at the same time. I feel like it's a mixed bag of goods, but I don't think being around Eric and Marciano really help her. Like, they don't really guide her. And I would maybe mad. Like, I really like Andre as well. And he's just wasn't very present this week. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like we got a whole lot of Andre this week, and I feel like some of the stronger characters. Some of the better moments so far this season are the conversation Lisa has with the people. I feel like when she has the one-on-ones, whether it's with the guest or whether it's with the people that are these quote unquote people that worked in this in these businesses, which I'm not sure they have, because the way their etiquette is, there's just no way. Like some of them are just out of this world. I do like the chef. I don't think he does anything wrong except for like do his job, and everybody gets mad at him for doing his job.
Yeah, and that fight was ridiculous. Like, I would like to see Marciano. Is that his name?
Yeah.
I would love to see him try to cook like anything like close to what the chef prepares. So I can't even with all of it. Um I just don't know what's going to draw me in. I'm open to you're probably gonna have to change my mind. And so like hearing your thoughts are really helpful, but like I don't
Yeah.
know. And I must said this to you before, but like what is the point? Are because I can't seem to figure out what they are working so hard for. Is it like it sounds like they're just like there's no, you know, prize at the end. There's no like, it's not like a relationship
Somebody
show.
wins at the end of the show. You get a job with Lisa Vanderpump. Like something would
No,
be.
yeah, exactly. It just seems like they're vying for her approval or just like a sad, like they're just hoping their names are on a comment card so that they can get a pat on the back at the end of the guest stay. I'm just like, okay, at least like with Below Deck Med, which I feel like is the kind of the what they're modeling things off of, at least they get like really awesome tips if they do well. And like, the guests will like shower them with like these amazing like tips and they get money. But like here it's just like, do you get anything? I don't know. You get a roof over your head and you don't get yelled at by Lisa Vanderpump.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed, and I didn't catch it, but somebody had watched it. They were like, yeah, like somebody had slipped up in one of the episodes. Like they're working like 18-hour days. And I'm "Whew," like, holy cow. So like they're living there working 18 hours. Like that's tough. You know what I mean? And for again, for what? And I agree with you. Like you brought that up before we were talking about this. We started recording and I thought about it. I was like, you have a good point there. Like there's no stakes for you to really like sink your teeth into these people other than just to watch it every week.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're
I'm
like,
learning
yeah, that's all I
patience.
got.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll keep trying because
Yeah.
we want to recap these things if people are interested in talking about them. But like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. It's gonna take some time.
Yeah. So another thing is I do think that the guest Harlan last week, I really liked her reason for being there, but the bachelorette party felt very underwhelming. Like I felt like that entire thing was just a bore.
Well, yeah, and also that one like guest, I don't even remember his name, but that one guy that was trying to stir up shit. I feel like he
Brett,
was
yeah.
trying to get like a spot on the show. It's like he just wanted to come on board, just like leave him at the chateau and give him a job in like the house cleaning or something. Like he just wanted to join the drama.
Yeah,
And
he wanted to make sure that he was going to get his 5 minutes on the episode.
yeah.
Towards the end of the episode, I did think that again, Marciano, I don't think there's any like he's one guy that I don't think he can make himself look worse, but he does so every single time. But obviously, towards the end of the episode, they kind of have a dress up party and they have this stupid, question answer game. If you don't answer, you have to take article clothing out, whatever, blah blah blah. And then for some reason, out of nowhere, he goes, "Who doesn't deserve to be here?" And Marciano says the chef, and then of course his sous chef is really pissed, Caroline. This is like, first off, Grace says Marciano is a 30-year-old man who acts like a bitch and was hilarious because it's a matter of fact. And then, of course, Anthony confronts Eric about what Marciano said. And Anthony said he doesn't give a fuck about what Marciano said, which I do appreciate the chef in that, Chef Anthony in that, by saying, like, I don't really care. Like, let this loser say whatever he wants. But what did you think about this entire, like, kind of wrap up of the episode?
Yeah, I mean, Marciano wishes he could be that useful. Like he's obviously made it clear that he's very insecure about like wondering if he is even worthy of being here, which again, I don't really get why any of them are here, but he's like trying to like earn his place, I guess. And like the chef is his name Eric or I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Yeah, like
Oh,
I
Anthony.
or
Yeah, yeah,
oh sorry, Anthony. Like
yeah.
he obviously has a role. He's obviously worthy. Like I like just the quick shots that they done of the food. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm assuming it tastes good. Like he's already like proven his worth more than probably anyone there. Just because he doesn't want to like take shots and shit talk around the campfire like after things like doesn't mean that he, isn't doing his part.
Exactly. I totally agree 100%. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what next week has in store for us. More drama. Obviously, the comment cards from this. We got a little bit of a tease of Marciano having to sit down with Lisa, which should be interesting. Will he get kicked out of the house? Probably not, because he's really like full of drama, and I'm sure he'll have a sob story of why he is the way he is to give us next week. So yeah, that was it for really the breakdown of the Vanderpump Villa. Between Villa and the Valley, we're quite busy right now, and there are 45 other million other shows that are happening right now. But I'm very excited about the Valley, though. I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited to continue. I'm very excited to continue Villa. Hopefully, we find some meaning behind some of the things. But I agree with you. It just feels like it almost feels like a drama show versus a reality show.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. So we'll see where it goes. We'll keep tracking it, and
Yep.
who knows, maybe we're in for a surprise.
Maybe we are. And like I said, next week we'll be recapping both Vanderpump Villa and The Valley episodes 5. I will probably just mention a little bit of small talk about The Circle on the episode, but I'll probably have the first 4 episode breakdown here on the YouTube channel and on the podcast. Make sure to do us a favor and subscribe and give us a 5-star review wherever you're listening. Thank you again, Kenzie, for joining me again this week. We will be back next week with another episode of the Love and Reality Pod.
Thanks. Bye.